All right, welcome everybody to the Platform and Core Development Update. My name is Balázs Bézi, and today we are going to talk about the advancements of the past 2 weeks. We have the platform teams as well as the core team here today. And we are planning this session for 1 hour, though we cannot really, calculate the time or predict it because it is based on your questions and as well. So please feel free to share your questions in the live chat, as well as your feedbacks or encouragements in the chats below. And without further ado, please welcome the first team, which is TenderDash.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dmitry Golubov. I'm Balázs, could you please move to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm software developer at TenderDash team, and our past 2 weeks we worked on 2 big topics. First one is stabilization and improvement for version v1.0, and second topic is related to our next release, which will include our refactoring of consensus module. So for the first big topic, we worked on improvements in stabilization, and the biggest achievement, we added a few as we think important features like a PEM encoded format, which we can decode our node keys, and also we added a feature to derive a node key from BIP39 mnemonic phrase. Also, we added our internal tool in our main release in order to be able to dump the traffic which we transfer between the TenderDash and ABCI application. We fixed one minor bug which is related to the form type in a Genesis when we can get after when validator set can be restarted. So basically, we just deprecated one field in our configuration at the Genesis file, and also we worked on fixing the feature which is related to seed connectivity. So some time ago, we introduced the feature when the seed can evict the peers, which can stay at the seed node for a long time in order to be able to handle another peer request. And probably at this point of time, we need to do some more tune this feature, because we have a few parameters which we need to adapt for the real network on the testnet and mainnet as well. So the second topic is related to the refactoring. It's already mentioned, related to the refactoring consensus module. We do a lot of work already, and yeah, as you can see, all these items in the second section is related to the refactoring. And two topics, two big PRs we already merged, and yeah, we just need to a bit more time in order to finalize our reviewing and go further. So let's go to the next slide. Well, yeah, to start, to be able to ready for a testing phase, we need to finalize integration of our BLS library. Currently, we blocked by Drive team. Actually, Drive is working on it, and we just need to wait when Drive will be ready in order to start testing and integration probably. And also, we blocked by Drive team as well in order to finish just vote extension for withdrawal transactions. Yeah, probably Ivan Shmukov or Kostya can give more information about it, but yeah, this is pretty much it from our side. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Let's move on and continue with GroveDB.
Sure, I'll take the first two items. Hello, guys. So in GroveDB, generally the stuff that's there just are like features that are needed from another team, where we found that something was needed. There was really only one coding thing that happened in GroveDB, and it was a sum tree parent cost. There was a slight error in sum trees where basically some trees have values inside that are represented by various amounts of bytes. Sometimes like a number 1 is very small, only needs 1 byte, but a number like 10,000 needs 2 bytes. So, because we use variance, the cost would go up and down. And for the balances, we needed to have fixed costs. So we coded that up, but this is a minor task. Just wanted to add it because if other projects or somebody else ever uses GroveDB, it is a cool feature to have that the costs are fixed for sum tree items. And with that, I will pass it on to Wisdom. Almost forgot your name, Wisdom. Wisdom? Is he here? Well, maybe not. Okay, well then we can't hear you, Wisdom, if you're talking. Give you a few seconds.
Would you take over, Sam?
Yeah, sure. I'll take over. So Wisdom is currently working on the specification of the proof system of GroveDB. Writing specs is a pretty arduous task, and we had kind of reserved. We didn't want anybody to really get blocked, so we had like a lot of notes when we built GroveDB, but they were not in specification format. At some point, this had to happen. We needed to write the proper specification, and Wisdom is currently working on the proof part of that, because GroveDB is pretty much done for the release. And I also talking about TenderDash before. Basically, yes, they're not done because they're blocked on a few items, but when you see what they're working on, it's also more just stability and tests. And like if we had to start the testing phase, both GroveDB and TenderDash would be done, would be ready. Okay, let's move on to protocol. And we planned protocol, so I would speak first. There is something very cool that happened in the last 2 weeks. We merged in the identity v2 pull request, which was not really identity v2. It had most of the features that were left on RS drive to be done. I've been talking about these for a very, very long time, and they've all got merged in I think it was yesterday. So very happy about that. It was 21,000 lines added, or 22,000 lines added. And it was reviewed, heavily reviewed. We put in a lot of time on that. The review of it almost took 2 weeks, and we added a lot more tests over these last 2 weeks. Everything is working very well. It has the identity v2 features. It has the efficient root tree feature. I probably talked about that before. It has the balance trees that uses sum trees integration. The sum trees are integrated in the balance tree. The sum trees are also integrated in the pools that give out rewards to master nodes. It has the testing, the strategy test. The strategy test basically is you can create contracts, you can define strategies for testing. Like I want to create a contract and I want to add 1,000 documents to this contract every 2 minutes. And you can do tons of little strategy tests to see if the system works. And then it has the total credit balance verification, meaning that it always makes sure that there's no inflationary bugs. That's all merged in and done. And it feels great. I feel like we have that twice: total credit balance verification and calculate expected total credits amount. Maybe it's not exactly the same thing, but Ivan, is that different?
Sure.
Wait, calculate total credits amount. Expected total. Oh, you mean like from estimated fees? Maybe. I'm not sure exactly who put that in, but yeah. Anyways, I kept efficient data serialization because that was the next thing that one of the next things we were going to work on. I did improve upon that. Well, since yesterday, basically. So there's not much progress there, but I think within a few days that will also be done. It's very small compared to the rest, because most of that code is already written. Refactor DPP document types. Oh, this was another thing that happened. We were having multiple versions of the same code written by various people by accident over multiple years. Some taken from JavaScript, rewritten, and we refactored it to make it a little bit cleaner. It was actually 2,000 or 3,000 lines of code PR, so that's why it was. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it was actually quite hard. We added variant for our protocol versions, meaning before we were using 8 bytes in front of every message. Now it can basically just be 1 byte. Most of the time you only have, the version is very low, and you'll be using 1 byte up to variant is 122. So up to 122 will only use 1 byte. So best to use 1, then 2 bytes, then to use 8 bytes from the get-go. Excellent. And with that, who takes the next one? Sorry.
Ivan.
Oh, Ivan. Go, Ivan.
Yeah, I can take it. Yeah, so we continue to work on the Core 19 integration to the platform. We struggled a little bit with the new BLS library update for JavaScript. It's done, and now what needs to be done is just to test everything together with the
Is he breaking up?
Yes.
Yes.
so we close.
Ivan, you're too breaking up. You're breaking up too much.
Yeah.
Stop.
If you can stop your
To
camera.
use the new
Can you turn off your camera?
I did.
All right.
That's
Wonderful.
better.
Please continue.
I'm not sure, like my
Or
voice
start
will
over.
explain really. I'm not sure my voice will explain really nice without my beautiful face on the screen, but
Yeah,
I'll
it
try.
will. It will. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Oh, sorry about it. So yes, we are working right now on integration Core 19 into platform, into our current development branch for version 24, which is better. And we struggled a little bit with the BLS library for JavaScript. Now it's done, and so we just need to test everything, the all components working properly together. So we close this task to finish. And next one, this is for DashMate. Is our distribution package. And right now there are two ways to use DashMate. Is like using the monorepo and basically the build the current code right into the master node or full node what you want to run, but it's development approach. And we also started to ship DashMate as the NPM module, but it's not very convenient for everyone. So we're working on creating the self-contained package for different environments. So it will be the Debian package. It will be the DMG file for the Mac, and also I'm not sure what it is for Windows. And yeah, it should like simplify the setup of the master node for people. The last one is pretty interesting one. So since we are going to release platform pretty soon, we're thinking about the platform services discovery. So the master node should register not just the core port, but also the ports for platform as well. And we had like several different ports for different RPCs for the different APIs for DAPI. And in this task, we reduce into one. So now platform, instead of having two, like for JSON RPC, for gRPC web or gRPC native, we will have the only one port open. And yep, only one port open. This should simplify the master node list thing. Thank you.
All right, then Javid, would you? Oh, something is happened with. Yes,
that's fine. Oh, this one.
You should see.
Well, hello everyone. Quick update on withdrawals. So what happened in withdrawals this sprint? Basically, we've been busy incorporating a few changes to the platform that happened while we've been reviewing the withdrawals for last time. Basically, they are batchings using drive operation type structures. They are for batching write operations for drive. We incorporated that. We also incorporated all the small changes to RS-DPP, which happened along this time. And the third one, and kind of huge one that happened recently, is we've merged identity v2, and we've been merging it into withdrawals PR as well. And about the status of it, we're fixing final tests, which were not working recently. And after that, we are waiting for one final look at the code to understand if everything is fine before the merge. And hopefully this will happen sometime by tomorrow, I guess. So that's it.
Yeah, and just to add something, me and Ivan already completed the review. We actually, all the tests, well, all the tests except the ABCI tests are passing. There's just one, we know of what to do. It's like 15 minutes to fix the other one. But basically, like, we're at the end of the review. We had to choose between identity v2 and credit withdrawals, which one to merge in first. We merged in identity v2. then people who don't know how code works, basically when you have like two code paths, you have to once something big gets added to the main code base, you have to then merge it back into credit withdrawals. That was hard because there was a lot of changes that happened. But actually Javid accomplished that last night, and then me and Ivan all day today. We were really trying to merge this in before the review today, but we just didn't make it. We're hopeful that we'll merge in credit withdrawals tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about what's left.
Yeah, so I'll take this one too. So yeah, we're very close to accomplishing withdrawals. Before this was actually accomplished withdrawals and tests and tested. It didn't really make sense. So we put testing at the very bottom, like withdrawal verification after RS-DPP integration, because we have tests for it, but we don't have like the final whole system test to make sure everything's working. And that can only actually happen after we've integrated the RS-DPP. So we're going to, have lower level tests, merge it in, and then the final whole system test we'll do after the RS-DPP integration. So we split it up into two. So hopefully, as I said, we'll accomplish withdrawals by tomorrow. The asset lock and going through this list, I just, we keep on crossing things out. What's cool about it is not only we've crossed things out here, but there was a lot in the previous sections that was in progress, and a lot of that is now done. So that's great. Yeah, so, I keep the ones crossed out from the original version. The asset lock and unlock transactions integration, that's basically blocked by DPP integration. So we need DPP integration first. The BLS library Rust binding, we implemented it. We're not merging it for beta 1 because we're afraid of issues. And beta 1 is basically the feature complete version. Then, so what do we have left after that? We have the Masternode block reward distribution, and verifying that withdrawals completely work, but that's it. So not much left there.
Right.
On DPP side, there's still a little bit more, and I think Anton is sick today. So Powell, are you taking it?
They're all taking it.
Yeah,
oh, they're all taking it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Let's
Actually,
do it.
I would like to add that you might see less work on protocol slides. It's just because the people migrating to the DPP slides now, and like the Kost and Javid, they starting actively participating in DPP integration, and probably next sprint we all will be there.
Yeah, we're all. Well, I don't know. I still have the efficient DPP data serialization, and withdrawals will be tomorrow.
Yeah, we still have stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe towards the end.
All right. Should we start with Igor?
Oh, we have colors now in presentation. Yes, thank you, Balázs. So hey everyone, our dear Anton is sick today, so we are all collectively going to be gonna tell you about our progress during the past sprint. So we finally merged all identity related state transitions, and basically this functionality is done. And we did this was a feature of WASM-TPP. It's a synchronous state repository. Originally, it was synchronous because, for simplicity reasons, and to speed up things with integration and to unblock other people, we made it to work in a synchronous fashion. but now we made it to work. We made a bridge between JavaScript promises and Rust futures. So this job is done. And that's all from my side. It was my responsibility. I'm handing over microphone to Evgeny.
Thank you, Igor. Yes, Evgeny from GroveDB team, and as Ivan mentioned, Rustport is pretty hungry for developers, so we are migrating now. And we also worked on JSON schema library. It's not our internal library. It's an open source library that Rust uses. And in this sprint, there was a spike regarding this library, which is a kind of domain-specific language we use to describe how data contracts must look. And we use this library to do validation work for us. However, the JSON schema standard evolves, and not all features are supported by this time. And because we port all our test suite from previous version of platform to Rustport, and it revealed to us that one feature is missing. So this work is about implementing this missing feature of JSON schema library, and someone had to do it first. And it turns out that we're the most active users. So we're doing it. Work in progress.
Yay! What was the feature?
Unevaluated properties, it's named.
What was the name?
Unevaluated properties. So it's kind of a hack of JSON schema.
Oh, okay.
To use nested schemas.
Okay. And we needed that?
Turns out that we do. And tests helped us to realize that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we use it in our JSON schemas.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Pavel, would you continue, please?
Yeah, sure. Hello, guys. This is Pavel. Here is the quick update about remaining tasks. Yeah, I mean, as you currently, we currently working on making sure that the RS-DPP WASM interface has parity with original JS version in terms of behavior and functionality, right? And we are doing this in kind of through the two test suites, right? And in unit tests and integration tests. The unit test part is basically done and has been done a while ago, and the integration part is still ongoing. But we are basically really close to the end. The documents part on which I'm working is like finished, I would say 90%, and more precisely, it's are like two test suites left, and it's expected to be done like in 2-3 days. So after that, we are done with all work related to the documents. Also, we have a kind of similar situation in case of data contract, with the exception mentioned by Evgeny. Until in last weeks, I was working on integrating Facade for the data contract. I mean, Facade, it's a kind of top level abstraction that combines all subcomponents related to the data contract and provides the high-level API interface to the developers. So this part is basically done, and it's basically in review, so we can expect that this feature to be merged really soon. And yeah. And after the integration, we have a next steps which are related to the migration of features from version 24, because, well, basically the RS-DPP right now is mainly 23. So after the integration work, we are doing the work related to migration that changes from version 24, and also we are doing kind of effort that is related to reducing the tech debt what we've created during the migration process. So in this aspect, Kostya already started working on improving the overall experience with errors, because right now we are not quite at the same level in terms of errors that we know from JavaScript and errors that are exported from WASM DPP. But well, these things actually will be, we hope we can be fixed soon, and work on this will be continued in the next sprint. So yeah, I think that's all related the current status on the, speaking of the next sprint. So let's see what is planned next. So Igor.
Yep, thank you, Pavel. What are we going to do in the next sprint? I will elaborate more on a backport thing that Pavel already started explaining to you. So basically, there is a certain level of divergence between JS-DPP and RS-DPP in v24 branch in GitHub. And this is what we have to do. We have to eliminate this divergence and make sure that RS-DPP actually matches JS-DPP logic. Yeah, finish documents and data contracts, finish with the JSON schema, and having in mind that we're finally have identity v2 merged, we can start integrating RS-DPP in the form of WASM-DPP into DAPI, Drive, and SDK. Actually, yeah, after finishing the backports. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Because I actually do not know this. What backports do you know of that are needed in v24? For example, like most of v24 was written in Rust. So what sections, does anybody know what sections you're thinking of backporting?
I would like to ask for the audience help because I don't know myself. So maybe someone who actually wrote them, maybe Ivan could help, or Javid or Kostya, if they are around.
There are changes. Yeah, there are changes related to the fee calculation mostly. What we worked on in v24. So it's like state. Yeah, so basically calculate function, state transition calculation function, also the state transition execution context, the dry run logic, different slide fixes. Then it's not big.
It's not big. Okay. I was afraid all of a sudden. Don't want our audience to be afraid.
I mean, that whole work was planned in a way that it shouldn't be big. So we try to put all our efforts on the Rust side, so we don't need to do double work eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of identity v2 is already written, as far as I know. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean I did it, so I know it. So yeah, let's cool. Let's move on then.
All right, thank you very much. So let's continue with the core team.
All right. Hello, guys. So, quick updates on the v19 development status. The HPMN implementation has been completed. Basically, since the last update, we included the latest changes required by platforms. So the new extra fields, presence in the ProTX family transactions, in the state of master nodes as well. So this is still under review, but hopefully merged very soon. We also have worked on changing and adjusting existing dips for v19. So basically all the changes related to both HPMN and the new BLS recent changes also included in v19. So quickly, we changed dip 3. So all the related ProTX changes to HPMN. The new masternode payment logic, I remind that starting from v19 fork, high performance masternode will be paid 4 blocks in a row compared to 1 for regular masternodes.
But only for
yeah. Until basically between starting from V19 fork until V20 fork. So we also changed DIP4. We enriched the simplified masternode list entry by including new required by platform fields for connectivity to platform. Hence, the Merkle root masternode list calculations also changed. And also the DIP6, of course, with the new logic regarding the initialization phase when selecting high performance masternodes members only for LMQ platform. I leave the next items of the list to Pasta. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Balash, if I could have you just quickly exit out of this presentation mode and go back into it. I changed some of the merged PRs line items because we forgot about a few. So yeah, there they are. So the first thing I'm going to talk about though are asset locks. And we're not positive about this yet, but we're heavily leaning towards asset locks being a part of V20 instead of V19. Asset locks really are only necessary for the activation of platform. Before platform is active, asset locks don't make all that much sense. You're just locking funds into like a future platform that will exist, but you can't actually get credits for them yet. And it's very difficult to test the implementation that we have of asset locks until the platform development is a little further, specifically the they talked about it earlier. I think it was the RS-DPP integration and stuff like that that we're kind of waiting on before being able to properly test this on a fully kind of integrated network. And so given that, it seems very likely that this will end up being included in V20 instead of V19. All of the code really is written from course perspective, and but we don't want to rush to merge something if we can't properly test it yet. And so, yeah, it'll probably be included in V20. That could change still. It depends how progress goes with a couple of those tasks that we talked about earlier. It might be included in V19. It seems less and less likely day by day here, as I really want to get a V19 release candidate out in the pretty near future. Once we merge the HPMN code, that's pretty much the point where we should be ready for a release candidate. There might be a couple of tiny stragglers that we have to wrap up before being comfortable pushing a release candidate to testnet. But once the HPMN code is merged in, we should be good for a V19 release candidate and start with the V19 release cycle. Additionally, you can take a look at the merged pull requests that we did in the last 2 weeks. I gave a brief description along with the numbers, so you can look at GitHub for more information. I think there's 12 pull requests in total there, probably like 6 or so backports, a couple of refactoring, some documentation stuff, fixing a crash, stuff like that. So feel free to investigate that more if you'd like, but otherwise, I think we're going to move on to what's next, although I talked about it a little bit already on this slide. The big thing is the V19 release candidate. And we're moving towards that quickly. Like I said, we're going to wrap up HPMN after that. Is my audio still working?
You became a robot.
But we're good right now?
Yep.
Now we can hear you, yeah.
Okay, good. My computer just went to sleep for some reason, which is interesting. But anyhow, yeah, once we get HPMNs wrapped up, we will be releasing a release candidate soon after. The normal cycle is after we release the release candidate, 4 to 6 weeks after is when we target the mainnet release. I think if you actually look at the history, it's normally longer than that. We normally find more issues on testnet that we need to end up fixing. But our general goal is somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks after the release candidate is when we would be comfortable releasing the final version. There is a couple of fixes that have backport candidate labels on GitHub. And so we could release an 18.2.2, the macOS crash on close fix, as well as better auto resending, a couple of small things like that. We could release it. If anyone is super interested in, those features that I mentioned, bug me, and it's more plausible that we'll release it if more people want it to be released. Because it does take time and it is effort, but depending on how valuable those features are to certain people, we can take that time. And then we're gonna, continue with maintenance, backporting, feature development, etc. We're already working on, features and stuff for beyond V19, for V20 specifically, and we're continually working on backports and other refactorings to make the code base better, more modern, and faster and more stable. So yeah, that's about it. I think it's time for questions now.
Questions time. All right, we have a few questions. I think we already answered what are strategy tests. Do you want to elaborate on that, Sam, or do you think it was sufficient that you explained it?
No, sure. I'll add a little bit. So one of our components is called Drive ABCI, which is a Drive Application Blockchain Interface, and it kind of is the Rust version of the heart of it all. And inside of that, you can create strategy tests, any type of test that you really want, to mimic the whole blockchain execution. So we added this module that can create strategy tests, which are basically things like, okay, I'd like to add 15 different contracts. And for every one of these contracts, I'd like 0 to 100 random documents per block. And I'd like 3 new identities owning various, you can say that you're adding 3 identities per block, or you can say, I'd like to add sometimes an identity per block. You can do tons of different things in a strategy. You can say, oh, I'd only like 1 identity forever. And you create all these different things, and then you just blast it. You can also say that the documents, you want them to either have random data, or you could have random full data, meaning that it's like as big as possible, or it could just be any type of data. You could also say that you want some documents to have the same data as some other documents. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So it kind of verifies that there's no randomness issue. They're also known, I think, as fuzz tests.
All right, thank you very much. Another question here is from M. Hassan. Are you using ChatGPT to code quicker? I guess anyone can choose their tools. I've heard some of you experimenting with Copilot. Are you
I'm using Copilot. Definitely very helpful tool for tedious and routine tasks.
For me, I used ChatGPT 2 times actually.
For coding?
Well, yeah, there was some complicated thing that I did not know how to do surrounding traits with borrowing. It's very advanced Rust, I would say. Traits with borrowing is actually not advanced, but it's creating traits on a reference, borrowed reference. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something a little bit harder than the normal thing. And I asked ChatGPT how to do it. It actually didn't give me the right answer, but it gave me enough of an answer that I was able to figure out myself.
All right, thank you very much.
I also have used it a decent bit, and I think that's a really good synopsis. Is it will sometimes be wrong, but it gives you that inspiration and that bit of thinking that you didn't necessarily have that will help you end up solving the problem a lot quicker than spending 2 hours on Google trying to find the Stack Overflow post that talks about exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. We have the when Evo question here. I think a couple of times.
Oh, a routine one.
Well, do you want to take it?
Well, I mean, the point of all this is to see us like cross stuff out every single sprint review. We merged in a lot of code in the last sprint review, probably more than we've ever done ever
in a sprint.
In a sprint, I don't think we've ever merged in. I mean, just PRs that I was involved in, there was 29,000 lines of code. And then there were all the ones that I was not involved in with like Igor, and there were others, and also quite close to withdrawals being done. So
many others. Yeah.
And there were many others. Yeah. So
so we keep you posted. That's kind of we keep you posted and showing the progress regularly. So trying to be as transparent as we can.
It would be really amazing if we could finish in this next sprint with the feature complete, but it also seems rough. At this point, it would have been nice that we had moved on to all being on DPP to finish it. I had asked Anton a week ago how many tasks were left in DPP. He told me about 20, and I think 10 have been done so far. Before getting sick, he told me that we would be moving on to the integration, I believe, in the sprint. So, does anybody have any other information that I don't have? Nope. Okay. Well.
Yeah, but obviously there are things that we are not aware, maybe right now. So yeah, anything can come up. So moving on to the next questions, it is rather to pass already up to what version in Bitcoin have the backports been done?
Yeah, so that's actually a relatively difficult question to answer. I would highly point you to, if you go to our GitHub and you look at the and you go to the issues and you search for backport, there is a tracking issue titled Bitcoin backports. It is issue 4000. And in that is a link to a Google spreadsheet. And you can see all of our statistics for Bitcoin backports in that spreadsheet. And so as a very quick rundown, version 16 is, basically 100%. 17, 100%. 18, like 98 to 100%. 19 is like 90 to 85%. 20 is about 70%. 21 is about 42%. 22 is about 20%. 23 is about 7%. So it's not necessarily that we begin backporting and then finish backporting one version at a time. There is sometimes really important features or very important bug fixes from newer versions that we need to backport ahead of time. And so we generally try and go in order, but sometimes there's stuff that is very annoying to backport or isn't super relevant, or maybe will become more relevant later that we don't backport right now. But sometimes there's very new stuff that we want to backport immediately. So yeah, I would point you to the spreadsheet. You can look at literally every single backport that and every single commit that Bitcoin has, and you can see whether we've backported it, whether we've decided that we don't need it and that we didn't merge it, or whether it's still open and that we might or might not backport it in the future. And actually you can contribute by going through this and backporting these if you have any kind of programming experience and want to learn how to do that process. There's some good information on the issue of kind of how to get started with it. And you can go through these and backport these and help us, move forward with backporting them. And yeah, then you can submit pull requests and get paid through the incubator actually for those contributions. So hopefully that answered your question.
Wonderful. And I also a recruitment pitch. All right, another one for you. Question more for Pasta. I noticed that batch.cpp and batch.age was in the past backport. Why is that needed? Okay.
Yeah, so batch. BECH batch is a kind of Bitcoin encoding. Well, batch 32 is how it's commonly referred to. Is a specific format for addresses that Bitcoin uses. And they're the BC1 addresses on Bitcoin mainnet. And they are, I think they're only SegWit addresses on Bitcoin. But from my understanding, there's nothing actually in the spec that mandates that they be SegWit. You could have batch addresses that are non-SegWit. Bitcoin just doesn't do that. Additionally, we don't. Sometimes we will backport stuff even if we don't necessarily use it right now. And so that's an example where, we don't utilize SegWit and we don't have any immediate plans to use SegWit. But if you don't backport a specific thing, there might be future backports and changes that will now have conflicts and will become significantly more difficult because you didn't backport an earlier thing. And so when we're backporting stuff, if there's not a strong reason to not include it, then we will probably backport it anyway. And so in this example, we don't use batch 32 at this point. We don't have any immediate plans to use batch 32, but it makes life simpler to still have backported it and to include it in the code base. And it's possible in the future we'll use it. And even if we don't, it makes other backporting significantly easier at no cost, really. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it would be interesting to note that addresses that you may see, like a Dash address or Bitcoin address in the old Bitcoin format or in BEC32 format, they're not actually on chain at all. Inside the blockchain, there are no addresses. There's only a hash 160 of a public key, which is part of the data of an address. So you don't modify blockchain at all by having backported this pull request. Correct, Pasta?
Yeah, pretty much.
Also from Great Wall, still looking for details on how to do multi-sig signing using hardware for CrowdNode setup. Feel free to answer it offline on Discord.
Yeah, I mean, really, multi-sig with hardware wallets is kind of a solved thing. It's been in existence for a long time. So, I would just reach out to the CrowdNode team and see if they have any experience with it and try and experiment with it yourself on the CrowdNode testnet environment and see if you can figure it out.
because there's nothing that should be blocking you from doing it, and kind of go from there. And if you have any specific issues, I might be able to troubleshoot those with you, but there should be no reason that you can't do it.
All right, then. If no more questions, I would like to thank you and thanks everybody joining today, watching us. Oh, there is one more. When will V24 will be running on testnet? Yeah, that's the question we kind of answered. So V24 is going to be released as version 1 beta. I don't know what will be the actual name, but yeah, that is basically that version.
We're going as fast as we can.
We're going as fast as we can. Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much finished. Well, we're almost done. Actually, no, we are done. Like efficient data serialization, that's in DPP. Actually, that's not even in RS Drive. I don't think there's anything left in RS Drive. Is there? Ivan, is there anything left in RS Drive? Except, credit withdrawals has to be merged in, but I don't think there is after that.
I think the final verification of credit withdrawals, yeah, after we merge RS-DPP is the last thing. There are some
minors.
Like core 19 integration, the HPMN registration in DashMate, things like that. Some miscellaneous tasks, but
yeah, we have some in progress as well as DashMate tasks.
Well, my point was basically that like one big component kind of got finished.
Yeah, exactly.
So
all right, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for the questions and the feedbacks, the encouragements that you were saying hi to us in the chat. Feel free to do it on Discord as well. All right. Then I guess time to wrap it up. Wish everybody a great day and see you in